Hey, folks, that's right. This is your man, Adolphus A.D. Moore, back. The NFL preseason is over. For you gamblers out there that had some money on this last game, final score 26-7. Who knows who will play squares on preseason games, but some of you folks got a Jones. Y'all got it bad. So I'm not mad at you. If you pay attention to have to pay attention to the game that way, so be it. Yeah, Texans are done. The preseason is over. Now it's time to get down to the real nitty gritty. It's time to start managing how this roster is finally going to shape out as the Houston Texans have finished. They took care of the Detroit Lions. For those of you all who might have been looking for your starters, if you were not in Detroit on Thursday when they had the joint practices, that was the game. That was the real practice session, the real contest, whatever you want to call it. The NFL would like to say, well, you paid your good money, da da da. That was where the real game took place. It took place Thursday in the joint practice session when the actual the starters, the ones for the Detroit Lions offense and defense versus the ones for the Houston Texans offense and defense, special team, you name it. That's where the real contest took place. It took place on Thursday. For those folks that happened to show up at Ford Stadium in Detroit, nice Sunday afternoon. Go out there and go look at the lake, go fishing, go whatever the case might be. But whatever the case, season is done. That preseason is over with. And now we have to get down to, as Coach D'Amico Ryan say, probably the hardest thing, one of the hardest things, if not the hardest thing he has to do, is because there's 90 guys on the roster right now. The roster has to get down to a final 53-man roster to turn into the league, and then they will put 16 players on the practice squad. So that being the case, don't expect the final 16 to be coming all strictly off of this team. It's not going to happen. I can guarantee you that right now. Nick Caserio and his guys are already in the office, probably slotting, depending on who may fall off of somebody else's team roster, might either find their way on the Texas practice squad or either on the Texas roster, because that final 53, and they will give us a final 53, at least let's put it like this. Let me call it the starting 53, because the nature of the NFL and the way the injuries and the bumps and the bruises that everything comes about, uh, as a certain noted sportscaster that's just signed a big massive contract and think he might have presidential aspirations, whoever that might be, or whatever thought process, it's fluid. If I might steal that, and yeah, it's a fluid process right now. It's fluid for probably about 65% of that roster is pretty well set. It's going to be the other 12 players or so that that you're gonna have to look at. Probably, and I've already been took some privileges to go ahead and start jotting down some things. If looking at, I mean, I think this is just me. I think 6, 7 receivers. I can give you 5 right off the bat: Nico Collins, Xavier Hutchinson, Christian Kirk, Jaden Higgins, Jalen Knowles, and it's gonna be maybe 1 or 2 others. I think the tight ends are gonna be obviously Schultz, Stover, Bryant, maybe Irv Smith Jr. on the practice squad, because obviously with Brevin Jordan going down and out for the season, that change. I think that to me, and just being at practice all this time, to me, that's a whole package that they had, that I thought that Nick Haley will have designed or will be designing for Brevin Jordan to exploit against the Texans opponents this year. Again, I hate to see it for the young man because he had worked hard to come back, and he's out. So who knows? Like I said, my thoughts and those prayers go with him to keep your head up, Brevin, keep working. It's not over with. As some folks say, it's been deferred, not denied. Until it has been officially denied to you, it's just been deferred. So just continue to keep your head up. Stay in there physically, stay in there mentally, and all above all, stay in there spiritually. No, I'm not going to turn this into a revival, but I just think for those of us that believe that there's a higher power, you know, and it's not all about you, and it's all about it's not your earth, not your dirt, not your sun, and not your moon. You understand who really controls the things and who controls your breathing and everything. Reverend, just keep your hands in the hands of the man and keep working. Um, Running backs. This is where it's going to get. I don't think it's going to be that dicey. Not in my opinion. Nick Chubb's going to start. Damian Pierce looked good running today. He's looked good in practice. Dara Ogunbowale, he's on the team because he can do a lot of different things. Besides, he's an excellent third down back. He's coming out the backfield. He's good at protecting the quarterback's backside. He's a Swiss Army knife. And here's the bottom line: he can kick field goals too, in case something happen, and for whatever reason, Kami Fairbairn has pull a muscle or something. Derek can be that emergency kicker that's going to stand in the place and stand in the breach and bail this team out. Now, Woody Marks will probably make this ball club. I've stated last week I felt like that they got to find a spot for British Brooks. Jared Jordan, I think will probably be on the practice squad if he doesn't make the final 53. You probably heard I have not even mentioned anything about Joe Mixon. I don't know, and I think nobody, and nothing's been said about Joe Mixon at this point. And this is just me. This is coming from me. This is nobody else. Nobody else. And so you want to get mad at anybody, don't go pointing your fingers and say so. No, this is just me, my speculation. We may not see Joe Mixon until October. And and that's a speculation. If I'm wrong, I'll come back on here and say I'm wrong. I don't anticipate seeing Joe Mixon until October. If then. But I'll just say I'll give him October. It was good to see Damian run the day in the game and to see him, particularly on up coming in between the tackles and taking some pitch outs and everything. All of that was good today to just sort of watch that young man and his development. Defensively, now let me go ahead and finish the offensive line, at least from my speculation. Uh, Jake Andrews starting center. Howard and Ariante Ursay will be at the tackles. Lake and Tomlinson, one guard. And Ed Ingram's going to be at the other guard. That's what I'm seeing right now. First game in SoFi Stadium. That's the starting lineup as I speculate. Juice Scruggs. Scruggs. Blake Fisher, Jared Patterson, Cam Robinson, and probably Austin Deculus, because Dawson Deculus on a touchdown run today that allowed Woody Marks to get into the end zone. He folded down the line. So Austin, the Texans brought Deculus back. So I anticipate that he probably could be either part of the practice squad or part of that 9 or 10 offensive linemen they may or may not can play. The bottom line, whoever that starting five, we've seen Titus inside at guard, and for a moment there, for maybe for 2 or 3 weeks, I thought seeing Titus at Minnesota, seeing Titus after they had played last week against the Carolina Panthers, but all of a sudden Titus has moved outside back to tackle, which I think is his natural position. That's the position he wants to play. And so in that case, I think Titus, and as it stands right now, Titus is going to be the starting left tackle. Starting right tackle. Ariante Ursay will be the starting left tackle. A rookie will start, and you're going to hit CJ. CJ's blind side is going. CJ Stroud blind side is going to be protected by a rookie, and he has. This is a rookie. I think he's come a long way in a short period of time. The fact that he, I think the team. I think folks trust him. I think he's come a long way, and I think they're willing to just. Well, guess what? That to me, that's the I think they best starting five. That's it in my opinion. That's where I think it's going to shake out. Now, that's the offense. Defense is pretty well set. Christian Harris, I think the linebackers. Excuse me. Let's see. Obviously, Aziz, Aziz linebacker Henry Tortor, Christian Harris, speed. I'm just and oh yeah. By the way, let me see. I think Jake Hansen will be at one of the other linebackers. I think probably 6, 7 linebackers. Secondary, I think, is set at the corners. Obviously, we got Stingley, Lassiter, Bullock, and MJ Stewart at the other safety, and also Jalen Petrie. Petrie is and it's going to depend. More than likely or not, you're going to probably see two. It's going to be two linebackers, and Petrie will be that third person down at the line. So that's the situation as it stands right now. The backups, as far as the defense is concerned, I mentioned speed. There's still some guys in the secondary, but I'm not gonna. We'll see. Did Quintez Cephas probably had a decent game today? If he doesn't stay here, he's put enough information out on tape. That's why I said this game. Excuse me. This game was a resume game today. Resume not for the current team than where you were playing at, but a resume for the other 31 teams out there, because people are going to be looking for different talent and not trying to be repetitive. This 53 that the Texans going to announce on Tuesday afternoon is probably not going to be that final 53 that's going to go to SoFi. I can pretty well guarantee that's not going to be the final 53 that's going to show up, or the 48 that's going to be in SoFi Stadium come September the 7th. So, as I'm getting ready to wrap this up, as I said, I wasn't going to come. I was going to jump on and be prepared to come back. I'm coming back Tuesday afternoon after we get the final roster, to go over the roster, to give you the final lockdown numbers, who, when, and what. See, was I right? Was I wrong? And see where we are. Oh, also one other. Let me see. One other offensive lineman I thought has came on quick. I think Blake Fisher will probably still be here. I was disappointed in his progress first, especially coming into his second season and the first part of training camp. But I think he's turned the corner to some degree. No pressures last week. I got to go back and see how. In fact, if I remember, Jake Blake didn't even dress out today. No, he didn't. But anyway, I think they really looked at some other. They had a pretty good idea where they were. So as I get ready to wrap this up, folks. Don't forget Texans final cut down day. The 53-man roster is Tuesday, 4:00 Eastern, 5:00 Eastern. All the rosters have to be into the NFL. So we'll see. That won't be the final. That'll be the 53s turned in. I guarantee you, between that day on the 26th and what's gonna go starting practice that week, it's gonna change, and it's gonna be interesting who the final 16 are that's gonna go on the practice squad. So without further ado, this is your man, Adolphus A.D. Moore, getting ready to bid you a fine how to do. Have a good rest of your Saturday afternoon. Those of you that have a place to worship on Sunday, have a great, blessed worship service on tomorrow. And those of you who like to sit at home and don't do nothing, if that's your reverence and everything, so be it. But anyway, as I get ready to shut it down and go find something else to do and go just kick back and probably go watch some other football and maybe go watch a little of the Little League World Series and see what's going on with those teams. I bid you a fan how to do. As I stated, I'll be back here on Tuesday afternoon. Once we get the final roster, it's probably Tuesday night and going over the final roster. And we'll probably have a guest or two to go over the final roster and get their inputs on what everybody thought, and we'll move forward with that. So as I was saying in confound closing, ciao, everybody, take care of yourself. Be careful out there. Watch the heat. Stay hydrated. It's still hot out there. And be careful out there. And be kind to one another. Hey, be blessed, y'all. I'm your man, A.D. Moore, signing off. Ciao.